welcome to the Cast Off. This is the #1 recasting show on the internet. Oh, my Lord. Look at that. I lost my lovely background. But anyways, this is the #1 recasting show on the internet where two contestants compete by recasting your favorite actors in movies you love. I am your host, Craig Price, and today we're going to do it the Chicago way as Sam Levitt from Me vs. You and Cinapse's Austin Vashaw recast The Untouchables. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here again.
Something has happened where the entire our entire backgrounds are just gone. Isn't that interesting? Well, anyways, Sam, you are in the Me vs. You podcast. What do you guys got going on?
We are on a summer break until about Labor Day. We are doing some sort of recasting of our own in terms of our layout and themes and things like that, but we'll be back for Labor Day with a bunch of really cool movies to watch.
And that will lead me over to Austin from Cinapse. Austin, what do you got going over at Cinapse?
Hey, Craig and Sam. Well, we've got this summer the New York Asian Film Festival, and probably my personal favorite of all the film festivals that we cover, Fantasia, which is based in Canada. So in July, August, we will be covering films from those two festivals.
Nice. I was just in Canada. It's beautiful this time of year. So this is the time you want to go when it's cool and lovely. But we do have a game to get to. And while we're talking about the games, the rules have not changed, despite the fact that we are back from our half break. We're about 4 or 5 games in. We're going to name an actor and the character, and you are going to give me a replacement for that particular actor. The best choice gets 1 point, obviously. Craig's secret selection, because I play along too, so if you get the same as me, you get a point. Now, sometimes what you pick and what I pick are the best choice, which it should be, so you get an additional point. So it's a good way if you start to feel like you're starting to slip behind. It's a good way to get that point back. Person with most points wins, obviously, because this is America. And if there's a tie, it is a double feature to win, and we'll talk about that when and if it is necessary. But as always, this show is brought to you by Matinee Heroes, and we're ending July celebrating comedic genius Steve Martin with his take on Cyrano de Bergerac's Roxanne. So you can head over to matineeheroes.com/subscribe to the and you can subscribe to the podcast, where you can also hear tonight's post show exclusively on the audio version of Cast Off every Thursday right here on Matinee Heroes. And while you're over there, if you are enjoying what you're watching, you can head over to matineeheroes.com/castoff and join the video subscription, so that way you'll never miss an episode. All right. Well, we're going to bring a gun to a knife fight, and if you give us any lip, we're going to stick you in the hospital, or even worse, we're going to put you in the morgue. We are recasting Brian De Palma's The Untouchables. And Sam, you go first, because you got the we flipped the coin and you won, and somehow, for some unknown reason, the curtain has come back and I haven't done anything. So this is what's going on, is that everything gets upgraded and the life gets crappy. So we are starting with Golden Boy. Let's see. We're starting with Golden Boy. See, always has one problem, and that is Kevin Costner as Elliot Ness. And now I said off camera how difficult it was to find several. There's going to be several obscure actors in here. Some great ones we all know, but they're obscure because they're a little older. Even this picture is not the best. Is the best picture I could find of Elliot Ness. And I was hoping for a nice high definition, and I had to tweak this one. This one is because it's all sunshiny and 80s and yellowy. It was awful. So apparently, if anything was made before 1999, it's garbage on the internet. So, Sam, who do you have playing the captain of this squad, Elliot Ness?
So it turns out I hadn't seen this movie in a while, and I went onto IMDb, scrolling through pictures for inspiration. One photo popped out, and immediately I thought one person, young Pierce Brosnan, Bond-era Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, I went Remington Steele. I went even younger. I went Remington Steele era.
Well, I have to remind you that I am the, quote, young one who appears on the show, so this movie is actually older than I am. So I know Pierce Brosnan from James Bond.
All right. Well, we'll deduct some points for that. But yes,
Valid.
because Elliot Ness is so young, and that's part of the character. That's why I went with Pierce Brosnan. But he is known as the sexy Bond, or as Sam knows him, Grandpa Bond, because apparently she's a fetus. He was in Mrs. Doubtfire, one of my favorite movies. A previous episode we've done here, Mars Attacks, Mamma Mia, we just did, and the Thomas Crown Affair. Pierce Brosnan looking sharp in that 80s suit. So yes. So you just went on pure looks, Sam? Is that how it went?
Pure looks and average acting abilities.
Well, the gauntlet's been thrown down, Austin. What average actor did you pick?
So for all my picks, I tried to kind of go with actors who kind of fit with the historical look of the characters, or real life persons in most cases, and also for Ness specifically, I thought what I liked about the Kevin Costner was that he kind of had this work a day. He's not super charismatic or anything. He just kind of is someone who's really determined. So I went with Josh Brolin. I thought he could bring that characteristic.
Josh Brolin, absolutely. And as we saw in Gangster Squad, he's got the look. He's known for tough guys. He was the main baddie in the Avengers movies as Thanos. We saw him in Dune with his magnificent beard, trying to outdo Oscar Isaac, but couldn't quite. Loved his Tommy Lee Jones impression in Men in Black 3.
Absolutely.
Cable in Deadpool 2, and of course, we all loved him in his very first movie, The Goonies.
Goonies never say die.
Oh, she knows that one, which was even older than this movie. But so we've got Pierce Brosnan, Josh Brolin. So we got the two bros, and the judges decided Josh Brolin. He just has the look. You can't help it but that. I went with a Chris Evans because Elliot Ness was basically the Captain America of the 30s. And so I thought Chris Evans would bring that same spunk and same American exceptionalism to the project. Well, now we have the great Sean Connery playing beat cop turned T-Man, Jim Malone. And so, Austin, you will go first. Who do you have replacing Sir Sean Connery?
Well, I needed an Irishman for this role, so I went with Brendan Gleeson. He's terrific. You probably know him as Mad Eye Moody from the Harry Potter movies, but also a ton of great roles that he's been in. He's a tough guy. He's got that older, wizened, kind of appearance that makes him someone to listen to. He's a rough edge guy, and I think he would be a great older cop.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's known for playing Irish gangsters, so this would be a nice little turn where he could be the cop. But yes, he has been in Bruges, which we did here, Harry Potter, Braveheart, Edge of Tomorrow, all movies you can find at matineeheroes.com. And, of course, the one we haven't done, but we talked about a lot when we did Paddington, apparently the greatest movie ever made, as Nick Cage will sell you, it's Paddington 2. Yeah, a great pick. That's a great pick. Sam, who do you have? You went with an Irishman as well.
I did. I am partially Scottish, so knowing that how different they are, I knew I had to go with an actual Irishman. So I went with Colin Farrell. I'm kind of digging his vibe now, where he's moved away a little bit from heartthrob roles and is now working. So I'm impressed.
He's an Irish sex symbol. Also in Bruges, him and Brendan Gleeson were buddy in that movie. Minority Report. Saving Mr. Banks. A surprisingly sweet role. I was very unexpected to see Colin Farrell in Saving Mr. Banks. He was taking good jobs away from, heavy-set character actors. I mean, couldn't we have just gotten Richard Kind? It's what he looked like, the Batman. And, of course, he was super sexy and super young and super hot in Miami Vice, playing Crockett and or Tubbs. I can't remember who's who, but it doesn't matter because it's the 80s remake and it's Michael Mann. It's awesome. Well, we have the cast of In Bruges with Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell. Both actors we love, the movie we love, but we decided to go with Brendan Gleeson. So Austin gets 2 points and has taken the lead.
Woo!
I went with Liam Neeson, another Irishman. and I thought, you know, it's hard to find him not being taken. So this was the only shot I could find of him looking old enough and scruffy enough to be Sean Connery, this was the first role where Sean Connery actually started to play his age. And when he got an Academy Award for it, he decided, oh, wait a minute, I might actually start acting instead of just being the sexy guy. Well, now we get to Robert De Niro, who loves losing and gaining weight and added lots of pounds for this role as famous gangster Al Capone. And so, Sam, who do you have playing the infamous real-life gangster Al Capone?
It's really hard to recast De Niro. I'm sure you have that trademarked somewhere. I went with Peter Boyle. I think he could do a really good job acting-wise, and I think that he's got enough of a look that all of my dogs are coming in because they're very excited about Peter Boyle as well.
Well, yeah.
I think that he looks friendly and then like he could murder you.
Well, of course, he's known for putting on the Ritz in Young Frankenstein.
I love it.
Yeah, the candidate, the taxi driver. He played a mobster boss, basically Al Capone, in Johnny Dangerously, a movie I doubt you've seen because it's well before you were born, and it's a goofy comedy. And, of course, he played the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond. I think that's where most people know Peter Boyle from nowadays. Austin, that's going to be a tough one because I think Peter Boyle's a really good match for this.
Yeah, so I was definitely going from the historical Al Capone here, and I wanted to find someone who really looked like him because I think for someone as looming large on the historical timeline as him, you want someone that actually looks like him. I went with Bob Hoskins, and in my head, I have sort of this Americanized version of him that you see in Roger Rabbit.
Well, unbeknownst to you, but beknownst to me, because we've done the Untouchables on Matinee Heroes, Bob Hoskins was originally hired to do the Untouchables, but scheduling conflicts and whatever, he couldn't make it. He is a big talent in a small package. Obviously, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? He played Smee and Hook. I know a lot of ladies love him in Mermaids because he played a nice romantic kind of guy in that. People remember from Brazil, and Everybody Needs to Get a Paycheck. He played Super Mario Brothers Mario. So
Mario.
Yes, suck on that, Chris Pratt. All right. So we have the great Peter Boyle. We have Bob Hoskins. This one so far is the closest of the two, and Austin takes a 3-point lead, but there's still plenty of places to go with this, Sam. So I went with Vincent D'Onofrio, who's playing the Kingpin. Yeah. Also, just to plug that he'll be at FanX in September, which hopefully, fingers crossed, I will be his moderator. So that's I'm only doing that to make sure that if Blake is watching, he knows that this is on my list. It's on my radar. Next is Charles Martin Smith as Oscar Wallace, the accountant turned shotgun shooting badass. Here he is just shooting somebody, and he's shocked and amazed that he actually hit somebody. So, Austin, who do you have playing this very young, basically not a field agent, a guy who's mostly doing office work? He's the one that actually gets Al Capone in the end.
Yeah, I thought that, I didn't want to go with like an obvious, quote, nerd actor. So I was trying to think of who's a little bit kind of left of center on this. I ended up going with someone who we've seen him in movies where he has like a really nervous energy. And I think that's something that would translate well here. Maybe we could get him on tax evasion, So I went with Crispin Glover.
Odd that you didn't want to go with a weird actor because he's known for being a weird dude. I mean, that's Crispin Glover.
Not explicitly like a nerd.
No, but I know, but he's weird. I think you're looking at like Back to the Future Willard energy, probably. He was great in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Did a great Andy Warhol in The Doors, and then apparently was one of the bad guys in Charlie's Angels movies, which I have not seen.
It's real weird.
Yeah, well, he's really weird in real life. Alan interviewed him once, and he would only do it by email and would send like 17 paragraphs for every question Alan sent him. So, next we get Sam. Who do you have playing Oscar Wallace?
I did kind of go a little stereotypically weird. I went for someone that like you double take and go, wait, they're an FBI agent? Okay. I went with Bruce Dern.
And finding a
younger
picture.
Bruce Dern, preferably, not current day Bruce Dern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I couldn't find any color pictures of him young because he did a lot of TV and independent film when he was younger. Making me, he looks like a young Dak Shepard in a lot of his pictures.
A little bit, yeah.
But one of our great actors in like Black Sunday, Coming Home, and then a lot of us remember him from The Burbs, and more recently, as he's gotten older and crankier, in The Hateful Eight, and did a really great job in Nebraska. But yeah, this was difficult. You guys are going with Bruce Dern's and, Crispin Glover's. I'm having a hard time finding pictures. So we've got Crispin Glover, Bruce Dern. Everybody said that Crispin Glover was weird, so we went with Bruce Dern. It wasn't that Crispin wasn't a fit. It was just that he gives us the creeps a little bit. I'm sure he's a wonderful guy. Probably not. So I went with Michael Stuhlbarg because I think he also has that nerdy quality, but I also think he can handle himself if they gave him a shotgun. Here he is in A Serious Man, which is fantastic. If you've not seen A Serious Man by the Coen brothers, you are missing. So now we get to Andy Garcia's George Stone. He was added for sex appeal to bring in the young ladies. As here he is saving a baby. It looks like he's saving Charlie from the Willy Wonka and the Charlie Chocolate Factory. He looks like a really young version of that. It's weird. So Sam, who do you have playing the hunky burn in love at Andy Garcia's George Stone?
Oh,
your dog does not like.
Did not like that. He did not like your play on words. So, this is the one where I really made you search for some photos because I wanted to really lean to Andy Garcia and him being Hispanic. So I wanted someone who had it pronounced. I wanted someone who had a pronounced look about him, and went with Sal Mineo.
Now I know that you're very steeped in knowledge, but I want to say you only picked Sal Mineo because you were live at the LA Comic-Con when we had the dual Sam Mineo reveal. Yeah, the dog agrees with me. Now, Sal was a pioneer in Hollywood, of course. He was in Rebel Without a Cause, Giant, The Longest Day. One of very good. And so I didn't have to look for this picture. I just stole it from the LA Comic-Con one. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
She did forget the Sal Mineo. I did forget the Sal Mineo off LA Comic-Con. But I picked it because I just finished reading about the creation of Rebel Without a Cause, about how it was written at the Chateau Moth, and that was my inspiration.
Well, she's starting to get less and less internet, so hopefully we can catch her on the rebound. But Austin, who do you have to go up against the legendary Sal Mineo?
So I've got one of the great, I think one of the great sidekicks. You see him in a lot of movies, but I like him best when he's not the lead. I like him when he's like the cool, sort of second guy. And like The Lost World is a good example of this. Vince Vaughn. I thought he is Italian also, so it's a fit in terms of the character. But I thought he would be great in this. He's got the charisma. You could really see him in this role, I feel like.
Yeah, he's always the cool guy, always too cool for school, like he was in Swingers and in Rudy, and he was in The Cell. That he seemed a little out of place when he had all these great actors with D'Onofrio and Lopez, and then hey, it's Vince Vaughn. But he's perfect in movies like The Wedding Crasher, and then he did that really weird waste of money exercise called I'm going to do a shot-by-shot remake of Psycho for no apparent reason. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Vince. So, it wasn't his fault. It was Gus Van Zant's. So, we have the great Sal Mineo. We have the adequate Vince Vaughn. And the judges decided to go with Sal Mineo because if we're going to hunt down and use that slide again, we're going to give him some extra points. So Sam, you are only 1 point down. I went with Harry Styles. I wanted to give him a shot. I know he's got some things going on, and I wanted to, well, like I said, we want sexy young guy coming in. Harry Styles, I think we can give him a shot. Well, now we get to Billy Drago as the creepily perfect Frank Nitti, the hitman. So Sam, or no, are we there yet? We're at Austin, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
It's Austin. Austin, who do you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Austin. Austin, who do you have playing the creepy bad guy?
This is the hardest one for me because you don't want to, I don't know, go too slimy, I guess. I mean, you don't want to go into caricature. And, even the version they have, I mean, he's pretty, pretty rough looking. But I had a hard time picking someone, so I ended up just kind of, I think, settling on this one. But I went with Jason Isaacs. He's such a great villainous presence, even though he's apparently a really sweet man in real life.
Oh yes, he is. I've met him several times.
He could deliver on that.
Yeah, Alan and I have both met him at Comic Palooza, and I've met him a couple times after that. He's known for proper villainy, so when he's a bad guy, it's because he's not because he's some weird-looking dude, even though he is in Harry Potter, but like in The Patriot, and he's just the bad guy. He's the proper English bad guy. If you have not seen Death of Stalin, go see it right now. It's a very funny, very well done movie, and Jason Isaacs is fantastic in it. So, Sam, who do you have playing the bad guy?
I really want to lean into it being very weird. So my first thought was John Malkovich, but I thought that would be a cop-out. So I went with someone that I felt could. I basically am turning this into a comedy. I picked Jim Carrey. I think it would be interesting.
Yeah, it absolutely would. You're starting to turn into the Jonathan Frakes drunk on video. If you have the YouTube video, because you sound like you are completely wasted.
I think I'm making the TBS version.
Yeah. So here we have Jim Carrey, and this is the meanest picture I could find of him.
That's probably where he's from.
Obviously, he was in The Truman Show, The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, The Majestic, Man on the Moon, and of course, to really show off his talent, Dumb and Dumber. So we have Jason Isaacs, Jim Carrey. We are going with Jason Isaacs, but we still have 3 points on the board, Sam. So you're not done because I went with Michael Shannon because I think he's just creepy and makes a good villain. So Sam, here's the situation. Next up is going to be Patricia Clarkson as Catherine Ness, and you need to get both the actor correct, and I also have to pick the secret selection. So let's just to see if you can do this. So here we go. This is just a tie, so we just need that to tie. So who do you have playing Mrs. Ness?
I went with English darling Emily Mortimer.
Emily Mortimer, yes.
I think that she has the same facial look. Yeah. She is a very good, subtle actor or actress, and I think she could do a very good job here.
Known for tough, smart women, she was in the Pink Panther movies with Steve Martin. And she goes back as far as The Ghost in the Darkness with Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas. But she really made a name for herself in Shutter Island. She was in Hugo. And most recently that I've seen her in, besides Network, the television show, she was in Mary Poppins Returns. So, Austin, it's smooth sailing for you, buddy. You just have to, if you just get the character, you're done. So who are you going to put out there to stop her from possibly winning?
Yeah, so it's a kind of a thankless role. I mean, in the sense that she doesn't get a ton of dialogue. Very much a supporting character, and in particular, support to Elliot Ness. She needs to deliver a lot of her acting with essentially a look. It's not the dialogue so much as like reading her eyes most of the time. And so I went with Madeline Stowe because I think that in the, when I've seen her in movies like 12 Monkeys in particular. I think that she kind of has that strong vibe coming out of her eyes.
Yeah, she was in 12 Monkeys as the psychiatrist. She was in The Last of the Mohicans, both those movies we did here at Matinee Heroes. Her very first movie, Stakeout, with Richard Dreyfuss and Emilio Estevez, and of course the Chinatown sequel, The Two Jakes. And the most recent thing she was in was We Were Soldiers. She doesn't work nearly as much. I think she has a lot more TV now. But this is a movie show. So we have Emily Mortimer, Madeline Stowe. Well, the judges decided Madeline Stowe. It doesn't matter what I did. So Austin, you are today's winner. But before we get to the final thought, a quick reminder: we need subscribers badly. Please head over there to matineeheroes.com/castoff. We need to subscribe to the video feed. Also, we have shirts. I'm wearing one right now. I'm wearing the Always Be Casting shirt, but we have 2 cast-off shirts that we're hoping people will be wearing when we do our live show in September at FanX in Salt Lake. Now, we have both the Spider-Man No Way Home homage and the Sonic the Hedgehog homage shirts, and they're available over at matineeheroes.com/store. And we have something going on for tomorrow, but before we do that, it's coming up for next week, but before we do that, let's get to today's winner and his final thought.
Final thought of the day: subscribe to Matinee Heroes, please.
Please, because you don't want to hear me say it anymore, don't you? But do you have a real final thought? I appreciate the plug, but is there something you would like to tell the folks?
No, that was it. I want to thank Sam for being on with me. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, and also head over to Cinapse and you can read all of Austin's articles, and there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. The summer has just started, really. We got plenty of stuff coming out in the fall with all the film festivals, and of course Oscars late in the year and beginning of next year. All right. Well, you're excited. I'm excited. We're still going. We have more to come. That's right. Next week we have from Movies That Make Us, the great Jake Dietz. And he's going to go against, well, he's got nothing to plug. Paul Hitchcock. I guess he's Elizabeth's friend. That's his plug as they recast. Oh, this is going to be hard. The Big Lebowski. Oof. That one is not going to be easy. Would you like to be a contestant? You can apply at Matinee Heroes just like Sam did. That's how she got on the show. matineeheroes.com/castoff/application. And we will happily make sure that you have a good internet connection, because now we'll make sure that's doing. And then, of course, we want to make sure that you have a podcast of some sort. So you have we can plug something, because Paul Hitchcock is just, we just kind of grandfathered him in somehow. I don't understand how it works. You can also email at mhcastoff@gmail.com.